for myself and some others who are very familiar with Kauai rental market and with the tenants and their situation, the relocation plan just is filled with issues. So in the Kauai council meeting on the January 9th, there was a DHHL representative who indicated that the reason Interwest was brought in was to ensure compliance to regulations and the laws. And unfortunately, the relocation plan that's been presented is the exact opposite of complying with the law. We're complying with the spirit of the URA, and with the regulations of the URA. It's a lengthy plan. It's pretty complicated. So in order to come up with sort of a quick, easy way to show some of the major issues, I worked with Kenna and who worked with some of the tenants, and we put together essentially a budgeting calculation. And in it, Kenna had handed out this document. It's a 4-page document. Hopefully you have it. That it details out issues and also recalculates the budget based on if you were actually going to follow the regulations, unlike what Interwest provided, which would completely go against regulations. So to give you an example, the majority of people who are subject to relocation are low income. The relocation plan specifically stated that income was not collected and low income tenants would not be considered and they wouldn't be calculated for. However, if you calculate for low income, you get much higher relocation costs required. HUD has special rules for low income and other rules for non-low income. If you calculate, we did a tenant study. We got the income ranges from everyone. This is something that Interwest should have done, but instead we did it because they hadn't done it. And we determined the majority of folks were low income, and we did a calculation. What is the additional cost over and above everything else just to account for the low income folks? It is the same amount as your entire budget. So if in fact you handle the low income folks in the way the URA requires, it will double your budget. So a major miss on any consultant. Your consultant is supposed to be helping you match the laws and to get a budget that's legitimate and reasonable. Unfortunately, they missed a whole entire 1.9 million just with the low income folks by not considering them at all. Another issue is when they were the other really big piece of the budget is when you compare current rents with the rents that would have to be paid when you relocate people. So in doing the study, the Interwest used a lot of non-valid data. It's basically just dirty data goes in, you get the wrong conclusions out. And that's what you have going on here. So to sort of try to make this really easy to understand, because data can get very complex, is you have to relocate people to a comparable apartment. The functionality has to be the same or better. Key factors of functionality are square footage, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms. Do you have a full kitchen or a half kitchen? Those are key ones. And there's a whole list of other less key factors, like do you have air conditioning or not? What we did, the tenants got together. Kenna helped us with this. She led the effort to do a market study. We did 4 days, everything we could find on the rental market of Kauai. Said, okay, for each of these elements that you are required to compare to figure out if the
Miss Twiggle, can you summarize? You're over.
Yes.
Time.
Yes. Sorry. So essentially,
thank you.
Sorry. Okay, I'll summarize. Essentially, the relocation plan is significantly under budget and doesn't serve properly. And I'm requesting, and other tenants request, that you go back to the drawing board or have Interwest go back to the drawing board and redo it so that it actually takes into account the regulations and the actual costs on Kauai. And I provided a reference document that gives you detail on basically how to do that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.